Now, the full power, the full excitement for me was that I was able to send people to my own website and save a bunch of money on eBay fees. But if you'd rather not sell items on your own website, you can just send your existing customers back to your new eBay listings instead. Take a look at what a massive difference this concept can make by simply alerting past customers about your latest eBay listings. Here's an example. It's an older example of some of the auctions that I had running at one point, and I want to show you some key differences between the auctions before I sent an email out and after I sent an email out. I took this screenshot on the left side on April 21st at 11 a.m. And right after I took this screenshot, I sent an email to, I forget the number, but it was probably about 800 customers at the time. Again, this is an older screenshot. This screenshot on the right is 26 and a half hours later. Now I wanted to do it 24 hours later, but for whatever reason I was able to do it roughly a day later, and you can see the differences in the auctions. Okay, let's start at the top. Before I sent out my email, we had 25 bids. After I sent out my email, we had 69 bids. This is 1 day's difference. Okay. Before I sent out my email, my bids on all my auctions were $122.12. After I sent out my email, the bids on my auctions were $816. So a jump of from 122 to 816 in literally 1 day. And by the way, this was not at the end of the auction. This was around the middle of the week. So imagine that kind of powerful jump in the middle of the week for some of your listings. Now, before I sent the email out, we had 64 watchers. Now, watchers are great indicators of how your auctions are going. If you have a lot of people watching your listings, that means that there's a lot of people that are going to jump on those listings towards the end of the auction, because that's how people treat auctions. They don't like to tip their hand and let people know that they're bidding on items. Okay, so 26 and a half hours later, we went from 64 watchers to 163 watchers, 99 more people watching my listings. Now you can see here some of the big differences in pricing. Okay, this one went from $12.17 bid with 2 bids to $55.99 with 8 bids. Okay, this one here went from $10.49 bid and 2 bids to $89 with 9 bids. This one went from $9.99 to $21.71. This one went from $9.99, which is my opening bid, to $128.49. And this car here went from $10.49 with 3 bids to $260.52 with 12 bids. By the way, this is all within the span of one 26 and a half hour period. That's the power of Beyond eBay, the power of being able to send a flood of people, interested people, to your latest listings, and being able to really create kind of a buzz around your listings and an excitement. Because as you know, with auctions, it's all about the buzz and it's all about the excitement, the number of watchers, the number of bidders. The more bidders get in on the action, the more bidders want to get in on the action. It's a very powerful effect that you can have with the Beyond eBay strategy. Now here's a more recent example. This one, we'll check out the date towards the end, as you can see, but here's the date, on 6/7 of 2013. What I want you to look at, these are just 2 cars that I listed recently, and this is where there was 2 days and 6 hours left in the listing, and I thought, you know what, let me try this. Specifically for this example, let me track these 2 cars over the course of this listing. Now there was 2 days and 6 hours left to this auction, and I believe this may have been a 5-day auction. So let's look at some of the key numbers, okay, on this one. 50 views, 20 watchers. So we already had a really good number of views and a good number of watchers. 4 bids. 52 views, 18 watchers, 9 bids. Price $22.50 was the amount bid so far. The amount bid so far on this one was $224.50. Now I'm going to click and you're going to see basically a slideshow here of the progress of these two cars as they go through the Beyond eBay strategy. At this point, right after I took this screenshot, I sent an email out to, I think it was like 1,100, maybe 1,200 past customers. Okay, I just switched it. Now look, at 1:16 p.m. on 6/7, let me back up, on the same date, so 45 minutes later, 45 minutes after I sent the email out, let me back up, we went from 50 and 20, 52 and 18, to 62 and 26, 63 and 23. I'm going to back up again, click. Let's look at the price. The price was $22.50 and $224.50. 45 minutes later, click, $45, and this stayed the same. But notice the number of views and the number of watchers went up. Okay, now let's look at the time over here and the date. The next day at 12:33 p.m., okay, so roughly again 25 hours later, or 23 hours later, we were up to 118 views, 33 watchers, and $89 bid on this car. This one was holding steady at $224.50, but here's the power. We now had 112 views and 27 watchers compared to the day before, 63 views and 23 watchers, and 45 minutes before that, 52 views and 18 watchers. So there's what I call watcher pressure building up over here. The bidding is not showing it, but it's going to show it because all of these are experienced collectors. They don't want to tip their hand. They're keeping it on their watch list and they want to buy this car, but they're just not bidding right now. They're going to, but they're just not bidding right now. Okay, you do see the upward price movement on this one. All right, let's click to the next slide. Keep an eye here on the time and the date. Okay, the next day at 10:38 a.m., so roughly 20 hours later, this car was up to $133 with 39 watchers, and this car jumped from $224.50, you know, that standard price that it had stayed at, to $305 with 32 watchers. Notice the number of views and watchers going up almost exponentially because people are getting those emails, they're clicking on the links, they're checking out the cars. A lot of them are putting it on their watch list, and some of them are bidding. Okay, now again, keep an eye over here. So at 5:17 p.m. the same day, okay, about 7 hours later, this one jumped to $160.50, 44 watchers. This one stayed at $305, right, with 33 watchers. Again, keep an eye on this. And what happened, let me back up. What happened is this one ended up closing, this auction ended up closing before I had a chance to do a final screenshot. So I have the final auction. So let's see, it jumped from $160.50 to $221. Now, I can guarantee I wouldn't have got that much money for this car if I hadn't sent out an email to something like 1,100 people. I might have gotten about $150 for this car. Okay, now let's go to the other car, because I did have the screenshot for this. Now it had jumped from 305 with 33 watchers to 365 with 37 watchers. 4 minutes left in the listing. Now this is at 7:30 p.m. on the 9th. And I think I have one more screenshot to show you of when this item actually closed. So it went from 365 to 425 with 3 minutes left, and then it closed at $445 was the actual closing price. Again, if I hadn't had this email list that I built up, and it was just a partial email list, it was about 1,100 people on my customer list, there's no way I would have gotten this much money for this item. I want to show you really through this, I want to show you how powerful this message is, and how powerful it is that you can do this with any number of eBay listings that you decide to do this to. So now what have you done? You've just increased the level of competition and activity in your auctions, which is huge, very powerful. You've increased the number and frequency of fixed price sales. So if you have buy it nows or other fixed price sales, you can increase the number and frequency of those. You've increased the number of watchers, which is a key indicator. You've increased the number of bids, which means you've increased your ending bid prices, which basically means you made a lot more money. And you increase the lifetime value of your customers, plus you created a new business asset, because now you can take your business wherever you want. You can take that customer base of 1,100 or 15, I have a total I think of 1,500 people that have actually gotten onto my list, and you can take that business asset wherever you want. You could send that flood of traffic to wherever you want. It doesn't have to be your eBay listings, it doesn't have to be your website. You could send it to your Facebook page, you can send it to your YouTube channel. You can send that traffic wherever you want. Super, super powerful.